on the agenda is approval of the October 20th, 2021 minutes. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, it's been a motion and a second. Any discussion? I'm sorry, we were supposed to call the roll, weren't we?
Yes.
We'll do that. We'll do that. How about right now?
Okay. Cochran,
Yeah, here.
Varner. Here. Brewer.
Here.
Minor. Here. Munn.
Here.
Mills.
Here.
All right, now I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Is there any discussion on that? If not, Tarana, we can call the roll again.
Cochran,
Yes.
Varner. Yes. Brewer.
Here. Yes.
Minor.
Yes.
Munn.
Yes.
Mills.
Here.
The motion carries 6-0.
Okay, next on the agenda is the sales agency and the review and approval of the 2022 contract. Krista? No, Krista's here. Mike Sales was going to come last week for this presentation, but because we moved the meeting from last week to this week, both Mike and Drew already had things scheduled.
Yes.
So, Krista is here.
So they sent me instead, but I'm glad to be here. It's good to see everybody in person again. I don't know if I've had a chance to really meet everyone in person, but just in case I haven't, my name is Krista Lavender. I'm the social media director at the sales agency. And like Chairman Cogburn just said, they are sorry that they weren't able to make it today, and hope that they can make it to the next one. But I'm just here to really give you guys an overview of what we saw from our marketing efforts in 2021 as a whole. So I'm just going to kind of run through that, and if at any point you guys have questions about what I'm talking about, feel free to stop me. So in 2021, we continued to increase brand awareness of Texarkana, Arkansas, and that was one of our big picture goals. The other one was to drive prospects to the A&P digital properties, the website, ourtexarkana.com, and our Texarkana social media channels. And to do this, we used paid media and organic outreach, both. So what we wanted to do was continue to promote Texarkana as a great city for a weekend getaway, for a day trip if you're close by, for a longer trip if you're making a bigger trek, or just for, if you need somewhere to stop and grab a bite to eat on your way somewhere else. It's a great place to do that and stretch your legs. And so we wanted to make sure that message was out there in our messaging. And we focused on promoting the diverse food scene, the entertainment district, and the nightlife scene that's really grown. And in addition to attractions like the Auto Museum, the parks and recreation and outdoor offerings that people can do here, outdoor activities to do with family and stuff like that. And then in addition to that, events, because 2021, as you all know, was a big year for events to start up again after having dropped off and had to be canceled in 2020, a lot of them. So people were very excited to come back and attend a lot of the events that they were used to here. So in promoting all of those different topics and messaging areas, we saw traffic to the ourtexarkana.com website see a lift in 2021, with key metrics like new users was up 146%, sessions as a whole to the website were up 123%, session duration increased by 32%. These are all year over year. And then direct traffic was up 87%, organic traffic up 180%. So it's a lot of numbers, but really what those all tell us is just that people are looking online for information about Texarkana, Arkansas, and visiting, and what's there to do here? Where can I go eat? Where can I stay? And they're finding organically, just by search engines and social media, they're finding your website and your channels. So that's a really good sign. And then just another interesting note we saw when looking at the website analytics from last year was that Dallas was actually the top city for web traffic users, followed by Texarkana and then Memphis. So just kind of a cool thing to keep in mind that, we're seeing the people who are in this region locally and then also from those two major metros in neighboring states kind of paying attention to Texarkana. And then we also continue to see a lift in social media engagement and followers last year. So our big picture message on social media was that we really wanted people to know, if they were looking into traveling here, that Texarkana, Arkansas was open again, that visitors are welcome back, that events are happening, restaurants are doing dine-in, like, you know, we're open, that kind of thing. So we really were excited in 2021. We came into last year already having a strong social media audience and community that we saw rally around Texarkana local businesses and try to support local businesses during that really hard year. And so that community just grew even more last year. We surpassed 12,000 Facebook followers and 5,000 Instagram followers. We continued, in terms of content we shared, we continued to highlight the local restaurant scene, attractions, events, and things like that that already bring people who love food and art and history here to Texarkana, Arkansas. So one of our video series that we share on social media is called our Homegrown video series, where we do interviews with restaurant owners and operators. And we continued that video series last year too. We featured Fat Jack's, Mother Kelly's, and Razor Dogs all had videos, and those all did, you know, get a lot of engagement on social media as well. We also really wanted to make sure that the A&P is a go-to resource for people to know, like, what are the events coming up? What can I do this weekend? Anytime there's a new food truck or restaurant that opens, we want to be able to share about that really soon after it opens so that people are up to date on what's going on in the city. So with that in mind, last year, the most popular post that we shared, and actually it was the most popular post of all time on our Texarkana channels, was the announcement about the Four States Fair coming back last spring. It had 2,000 shares, 180,000 people were reached on Facebook, and 20,000 on Instagram. So again, just more kind of lending toward that idea of people were extremely excited about some of those favorite events that they travel here for. And then finally, I just want to talk about one of our more fun strategies that we did last year, especially on social media. That was to emphasize the dog-friendly nature of Texarkana. There's a lot of restaurants that have dog-friendly patios and parks, and you have a great dog park and that kind of thing. So we want to make sure people who might be traveling through with their animals would know that, so that they would know, hey, this is a good place to stop. So what we did was we created the first ever patio pup photo contest, and we had people submit pictures of their dog. Ideally, we encourage them to take the picture of their dog on like a patio in Texarkana, Arkansas, or at a park or something like that, a trail where they can walk with their dog. We got 40 entries, which is a lot for our very first time to do that. They were all really adorable, and then we had people vote. We uploaded all the photos to Facebook and had people vote on their favorite. And the animal or the dog that got the most likes on Facebook was the winner. And so they got gift cards, a prize pack that was like gift cards to some of those restaurants that have dog-friendly patios, and a couple of really cute dog bandanas to wear that say patio pup on there. So that contest was a really good way to engage some of our followers in a new way. It reached 42,000 people among all the posts that we posted about it on social media, and then the voting post alone got 3,000 likes on the photos people voted for, and then 200 comments and 130 shares. So very engaging. People really enjoyed it, and it was just kind of a really cute way to emphasize something new about Texarkana. So that's kind of all I had to highlight from the 2021 report. We have a full PowerPoint. I didn't want to, make everyone look through every slide. So we can send that to everybody so you can see all the numbers. Those were just kind of the high points. And yeah, I'm also happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Yes, briefly, for your agency, what goals do you have for 2022 that didn't happen in 21?
Goals for 2022. Well, a continual goal on my part for sure is to continue to grow the social media audience that we have. That's just as many followers as we can get is the goal there. I don't have an exact number that I'm shooting for this year in particular. We grew it by about 4,000 followers on Facebook last year, so I would say at the very most, continue that rate of growth and ideally grow it much quicker.
Do you see an increase from 20 to 21, from 21 to 20?
Yeah,
22
from
possibly.
20 to 21, it was 4,000 new
All right.
followers on Facebook. And it was about 1,300 new followers from 20 to 21 on Instagram. Over the whole year of 21, so year over year.
Chris, so
Mhm.
I'm looking at some of the information that the sales agency has provided to us, and one of the things in here says that organic traffic from January to July of 2021 was up 452% compared to the same period in 2019. Can you explain what the organic search traffic is and what exactly was up 452%?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's going to be anytime someone is searching, Googling mostly, or looking on Bing or any other search engine for some content that is on your website. And so one of the things we've done is we've kept a blog on your website up to date, so that's one of the things that Google searches most intensely, to make sure that there's new content being shared on your website very frequently and updated, and that it's search engine optimized so that people are, it's using phrases and terms that people are actually typing into Google when they're looking. So, for example, we want to make sure the hotels page has all the search engine optimized terms whenever people are looking for where to stay in Texarkana, Arkansas. So what that means is, that was more people finding your website without any search ad money behind it, just purely organic, non-paid, from 19 compared to 21.
And I don't remember a specific dollar amount. I don't remember how many millions that the A&P tax, or how much our collections are up since we first retained you guys. But I'm looking here, and for the same time period, and this is not a good comparison because it's 21 to 20, but that was up 41%. But a better comparison is probably during that time period in 2021, our collections were up 19.7% from the first half of 2021 compared to the first half of 2019. Because 2020 was an odd year. I mean, not odd like different, let's say.
Right, we can still compare to it, but it's better to compare to 2019 because it gives us a more accurate picture.
So, do you know, or Tyronda, I'm sorry to put you on the spot, do you know how many millions of dollars our collections have increased since we retained the sales agency?
I am not 100% sure, but I did write that down. I'll send you all an email with the 2019, 2020, and 2021 actual A&P tax collections. That way y'all can have the actuals for over a 3-year time period.
I have a number in my head, but
I
But-
know, I
and-
could guess, but I don't want to just throw it out there.
And I'm
Be
just,
wrong.
I'm just the lawyer, but the one thing I think that can, and I think that's what Brandon's getting to, is, your 2022 contract is up for renewal. And I think at the beginning, everybody was concerned with, well, what's that going to get us? You're wasting money. But I think, Brandon's pointing to the percentage increase. We'll get the numbers, but, you can't deny the increase in tax revenues.
definitely, I know it's in the millions of dollars. I've seen those figures before.
Yes.
I just forgot to ask about, the
I
specific
know, I
numbers
should have brought it
today.
up.
I don't have 19 with me, but I do have 2020 actuals, 2022 actual collections are right around 1.1 million. But for 2021, the 2021 estimate is 1.4 million. So that's a $300,000 increase in just 1 year that we experienced, and that's the estimate. It's actually more than that.
And Josh, I know that we sent you this contract and you reviewed it, and it's the same as what we've approved in previous years.
Yes.
There is one addition, and Mr. Ellington, if you could address this for us, please. I know that you had recommended that we include, advertisements in Arkansas business. Could you speak to that for a moment, please, and let everyone know exactly what that is?
Sure. As I have settled in and learned more about our area, I was reading the Arkansas Business publication that comes out monthly. And so as I worked my way through it, I was looking for hotel, motel stuff, for restaurants, what was in there about Texarkana. And I had a hard time finding it. Okay, I want to tell you, I had a hard time finding it. I found one item. And so for other communities, let's just say, Fort Smith, I found dozens of items in that business publication. And I think that if we, maybe that's something we just want to ask the sales agency to explore for us, bring you some pricing or whatever, to consider getting out in that market. But that's a business driver for us, and I'd like to see us in there.
And they have done that. I asked them to include that based on your recommendation. In that line item, you see in your packet, it's in that letter that's dated January 13th, 2022. It's right behind the contract. In that line item, it's $5,876.
I think, I grabbed something. I think I have something that gives more information about what all that includes.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So it says Arkansas Business Meeting Planner would be a profile that includes photos, infographics, and a 300-word story showcasing why Texarkana amenities should be used for larger meetings, conferences, that kind of thing in Arkansas business. So that's what that money would go toward.
Is that a one-time, or did you say?
I don't know the answer to that, but I can get that answer and find out.
On the paid media, the restaurant, hotel, and attractions, the 45,000, how is that distributed evenly among the restaurants and hotels?
The paid media, how it's distributed among each one, I don't know exactly. I can tell you the different tactics that it includes, like pre-roll. So that includes videos, and for example, in one video, we would hope to include as many as possible, and we would have several different video options. I don't know if that answers your question. And same with kind of Facebook ads, digital advertising, banner ads, that kind of thing. We try to make it as even as possible in terms of which restaurant, for example, we're using photos from. That's why we're trying to get photos and build up a photo library from all of them. Does that answer your question?
Kind of, a little bit. Do you actively do that throughout the year? Do y'all pick and choose?
It's a good question. The reason I don't know really is Drew really handles that with our paid media director. I do like the organic, mostly social media, but I can absolutely get an answer to that. I believe typically it just depends on which places we have photo and video elements of. And then our creative team puts that ad creative together and we get it approved.
Well, I think the sales agency's done an amazing job, and they have absolutely been so easy to work with, long-term, and long distance. I know anytime I've had any questions or thoughts about anything, Drew or Mike were just right on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I do understand about them not being here today, because I almost didn't know myself, because it wasn't on my calendar. But anyway, I do appreciate all the effort and that they put into Texarkana, Arkansas, and showing the wide range. I follow it pretty close on who they're spotlighting, and I try to make sure I include it and share it and get it around to my folks too.
Yeah. Well, thank you for doing that. Thank you.
And I will echo that. I work with Drew fairly closely. He's my main contact, and we, not all the time, but, email and text, call frequently about issues. And so it's very, very easy to work with, and I appreciate that. Also, Krista, one of the things that you do is, for example, we also have that blog that we do now quarterly that y'all post to our website about events that are happening in Texarkana. And so I would encourage people, if you're having events that are bringing people into Texarkana, or even events that are bringing in local people, then send those to Tyranda, and she gets those to Krista, who then puts them in the blog or post them on our website or on Facebook or Instagram or other social media.
Sometimes all of the above. Yep,
And,
anything like
as long
that.
as it is something that is going to, bring people to Texarkana or get people in Texarkana out to, restaurants or events, then, we're gonna post it.
Yeah, and we're trying to do the blog post kind of every quarter so that it's kind of seasonal, spring, summer, fall.
The blog.
The event blogs.
Season,
Yeah. And then, obviously, social media, we can do that every day, weekly.
Are there any other questions for Krista or about the contract? If not, is there a motion?
Motion.
There's a motion to approve the contract with sales agency. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Chairman Cogburn, in that motion, could you also include to amend the 2022 budget to include the additional $5,876?
Yes, because the amount that we had budgeted is actually already set aside in our budget to approve. So is that okay if we include the extra 5,000 at your motion? So $5,876? He said yes. And who has the second?
I did.
All right.
Second.
Is there any other discussion about the contract?
Thank you.
If not, Rhonda, would you call the roll, please?
Cogburn,
Yes.
Varner,
Yes.
Brewer,
Yes.
Minor. Yes. Munn,
Yes.
Mills.
Yes.
The motion carries 6-0.
Okay. Very good. And Krista, thank you for coming. Certainly stick around if you want, or I understand if you also want to get back. All right. Okay, the next item on the agenda is 2022 funding requests, and the first one is from City of Texarkana, Arkansas. Mr. Ellington, turn the floor over to you.
Mr. Chairman, board members, I got to start with a little sales pitch for you this morning. I'm going to show you our 2021 video that we put together. I'd like you all to take just a minute to watch this. y'all saw a few things in there that reminded you of activities in our community. And
Drinking water before bed burns £46 in 2 weeks. If you are struggling to lose...
I like that.
Closed as it gets.
All right, I'm back. If you'll remember, I brought you a proposal back some time ago, around $400,000. And as you can see, as we work our way through this is considerably more than that $400,000. But what I want to share with you is this can be a multi-year project. It can be broken up in any fashion we want to break it up. We, meaning us collectively. This would be a joint project between commission and the city. As you can see, the potential of use down on the Front Street, Tied Mines Park area is great. This is a crowd that you've had down there before, and we'll hopefully have again. Let's see if I can get it to work now.
If you can't, Mr. Ellison, she'll get it changed over here for you.
The project started off as a renovation to the stage area in the Front Street area. I'm going to give you all another map because I've got something to share with you too about the stage area. So I have a couple of things. When we started looking at what areas the city owned and what areas the city leased, this map shows you the leased area from the railroad in the etched version there. And you can see, I drew the stage on that etched area so you can see that area is right in the middle of that leased area. So you can see that everything on the south and east side of that curved area of Front Street there is actually part of a lease that we have with the railroad. Somebody asked me a while ago what was the term of that. I don't know, but I know it's a longer term lease. But again, we wouldn't be even considering doing some improvements with city general fund dollars there if we didn't have a long-term lease on that property as well. As we look, you can see some opportunities here. This is taking that stage, expanding it just a little bit for kind of a backstage loading area, as well as putting a roof over the stage area so it would be more of a fixed all-purpose facility, as well as some advertisement that you can see on there that I'll cover as we move forward into one of these next slides. This project also has in it our need for restrooms. These are semi-permanent restrooms. They are designed to be much nicer than a portable toilet because it has flushing water in it, sewer water, electricity. You'll notice on the front of these are three different stations in that one unit. They make them in 2s, 3s, and 4s. They also make them with a handicap and 2 regulars or 2 handicaps. So this company makes these in several forms. If you'll notice there's a little green light on top. That means those are all open, available. They have both a toilet and a lavatory in each unit, and with running water. Yes, sir.
Jay, who's going to maintain the maintenance on these restrooms? How is that going to work?
So our maintenance on the whole area in this Festival Plaza area is already done by our Park and Recreation Agency,
Gotcha.
of which A&P helps us with. So this area would just continue under that maintenance. May require us a little additional maintenance, but again, these facilities are gonna be used primarily for event-based related. So these will not be open 24/7. They will be open when they're needed for an event or a crowd down on
I have a
the
question
front
right
street.
there.
Yes, ma'am.
Who holds these events? Is the city going to be sponsoring events, or what, how does that work?
Good question. We are proposing to you that we, the city, is a facilitator for this park area, like we do many of our park areas already, where we have other people who come in and propose programming on those facilities.
For example,
For example, we may have a promoter comes in and says, I want to do a 10,000 person concert on your stage.
would a promoter be a
We
business?
sign a contract with that promoter to put that event on.
Okay.
Main Street may come to us and say, we want to do a Miss Texarkana pageant on the stage. And they would in turn pay for that and manage that programming piece of that. We would manage the facilities, clean the restrooms, pick up the trash, those type of things. Okay? Next one, please. This is a schematic of that unit. You'll see this one has, if I can make this thing work.
These restrooms are hooked up to water and sewer, right?
Hooked up to water and sewer, and this is a four unit, okay? So you can see each one of those is a unit and has that door on it, and has that light above it, green to go in, red when they go inside and lock that door, the light changes to red outside.
You said there was electricity. Are they heated and cooled, or?
They can be, and we've not finally determined that. All of them have a fan circulating system on them. If we want them air conditioned, they can air condition them, okay? So we hadn't summed up that particular part yet to look at that price between just the fan unit and an air conditioning unit. Again, you know this site pretty well down on Front Street. So you see the stage area on the right there. And again, the leased area there is at the curb line. The curb line runs right here in front of the stage and on down that. So this is all railroad property in here on that side. We started looking at trying to put the restrooms on that side, and that made a lot of sense because it was out of the way a little bit. But because it is on the leased property, we wanted these to be a much longer term solution for restrooms in this area as well. So we're gonna have to look on our current owned property here, across to the grass here, in any of the right-of-way areas that we may have. But again, just trying to, the location of the restroom facility and facilities, I'll explain in a minute, will be on the perimeter of the site. However, we're able to make that work. We're still in final, just as I drew that site plan for you and gave you that, so I wanted you to see where the leased area was. We're still in design on how the area works. This is looking back the other way. That's 1894 on that other end, with the coffee shop going in over here on the car. Again, we already have in the parking lot here some utilities and stuff that we use for food vendor trucks in that lot as well. So
Mr.
that could either be used for vending areas and or people areas.
Can we go back to the slide before and you explain again which property is the city owns and maybe who, again, and which city property the city doesn't own?
If you'll follow this curve right up here on the back side of this curve, everything to the right side of my arrow, or on this side,
To the fence.
is railroad properties.
Yeah.
All the way
And
down.
that-
Okay?
And then that grassy area, does the city lease all of it, all the way around the curb, following the fence, or?
Right, so everything that you see in that grass area going all the way around is part of our lease.
or we lease it?
We lease it from the railroad, owned by the railroad.
That part,
Yes,
all
ma'am.
that egress.
How long has that lease been in force?
It's been in for a number of years, and it is a longer-term lease. I forgot to look that
I
up.
think it's 99 years, isn't it?
It's a long time. I'm not sure, but I can get that lease agreement. I can send it out to
We'll
everybody.
get that lease.
You're probably.
So again, everything from this point, moving up this way, all the grass area you see there is all railroad property and part of this parking lot.
And then what about the rest? I mean, the city owns a street,
We own the street,
and then
and
we just,
then we own the lot, the alley, a portion, an alley going all the way through, and a portion of this green space. Cross ties here on the corner, owns a portion right on that corner there, and then they own this portion piece on the other side here.
what about the part just to the south of that, where you just pointed that?
That other corner
That
over there.
corner.
All right, so we.
Facing on
the
Broad,
city
right?
owns this
No, that'd be the
piece.
front.
Cross ties owns the other side of that, going all the way up to Walnut there.
Are these restrooms are portable, correct?
They are designed to be more permanent. They are built as portable units.
Yeah, because, and I see where the budget says the term portable, and they've got forklift inserts, which is how you would move them, right?
Yeah.
And so, at first, I thought, well, if you have an event and somebody says, we want to put on our pageant, put the bathrooms down there and take them up when they're done, but this is leaving them
Just
there.
leave them in place, yes.
Okay, are they open all day, or just when there's a sanctioned event?
Event-based use.
Okay,
If a group comes to us and says, we want to do an event down here, we want to do the Mardi Gras parade down here, guess what? We're going to open them up, get all the paper in them, take care of them, work them on a regular basis during that event,
On our dollar.
on our dollar. On your dollar, actually, A&T, because you're helping us fund that park system, okay?
While we're still on the bathrooms, the semi-permanent ones, you recommend that they stay, but then you do have another proposal. I may be jumping ahead of you.
Yeah, that's all right, I'll catch up with you. All right, let's go to, let's go to traffic bollards next. And so these are designed, and then flip back to that site for me. Y'all see those, let me go back the other way. One more. So, we are looking at bollards in the street for a number of locations. One is right across here, where we could bollard this area off and protect it from vehicles, as well as either, depending on where we needed to, we could go right here at the Walnut Street, or go up around the corner here. We also have enough bollards in here if we need to go ahead and do Broad Street in at least 2 areas in this main block, and others if we need to. But this is designed to be able to control this programming area. So y'all have seen what's happened at some of these events. And we've had to make sure we've got the proper traffic control out there, and we've got where other vehicles cannot enter these spaces, where there are pedestrians. So that's the reason.
But these are put up and take down.
For the bollards, these are dropping and slide bollards. Okay. All right, let's go back to next one. All right, let's see what money's on the table here, okay? So let's start with the revenue side. I shared with you at start, I said, I asked you for 400, and now I come back and ask you for 700. That's a big chunk. Okay? But I also brought with me some money this time, which I didn't bring last time.
Carl, if you would like copies of these, we could give it to you. You don't have to take pictures of them. If you want to take pictures, go ahead, but we'll give you.
Thank you.
general fund's bringing $200,000 to the project. We're asking you for $700,000. We already have a commitment for community donations of $60,000. That could probably get to $100,000 pretty quick. These are basically advertising donations for ad rights for a certain number of years, in and around the stage area, in the park area, whatever we can determine to sell. But again, the revenue there says it's $960,000. Now, let's see what it's gonna cost. This is our best guess estimate currently. There's all those bollards that we talked about. There's a bunch of them. But we put them all in this one project. So we had them, we put them in the ground, we put the holes in the ground, so it's all already there. We cap that back up over when we're not in use of those. Site amenities at $25,000. Again, benches, picnic tables,
Okay.
trash cans, the things that we have to have when we bring a group of people together, okay? Site amenities. Light pole banners, very similar to what we already use in downtown, or that Main Street uses downtown for us with the TXK banners. They're about 3 by 5 or whatever the size they are. We use a number of those here. I'd love to put A&P Commission on a couple of those banners right down there on the site. And these can go up and stay up, by the way, around the site, and we would maintain them as well. There's the stage cover itself. Now, this is as close as we could get on the estimate, for steel keeps changing on its pricing, as well as some of the other metal products. But we got fairly close with a couple of contractors on giving us an estimate, so we feel fairly comfortable with that estimate at this point in time. The restroom skids, these are the skids that you see. It may be a three stall unit or 4 stall unit, whatever it is. That's a skid. That's the reason it's on those. So the forklift can pick them up, put them in place. And in our turn, they're gonna put them in place one time. And then we're gonna put a roof over that structure, okay? So we can keep them
There'll
at
be a
that
roof
location.
Over the restroom?
A roof over
Roof
these.
over these?
A roof over that. yes.
Like a pavilion?
Yes. So that's our goal, is to put a roof over them and to be able to put a slab underneath them. We also have the next level of restrooms, which is portable base. And all we're doing here is pouring a pad and putting a fence around that pad for you to be able to bring portable toilets into and put them in a location. So this, as an example, our restroom generally up here, skid, would take care of a 3,000 to 4,000 person event down there. These would add you another 3,000 to 5,000 people. So we could have 8,000 to 10,000 people down on the front street area for an event fairly easily.
And with the portable restrooms, with the pad, with the fence around it, be in the same location as these semi-permanent ones, or are you proposing a different location?
We'd separate those, Brandon, so one of them on one side and one on the other, primarily. Probably the more permanent, the skids on closer to state line on that side.
Split it up.
Yeah, right here. Oh, I see on your sketch, 2 separate.
Landscape and lighting, again, we need a lot of continual site amenities. This would change us to putting our, what I call our black pole lighting that we have in the Texas side has on our streets downtown. This would encompass that whole designated area and light it up very well. As well as landscape there with some trees behind the stage on the police property back there. But again, we would make that look very nice. And then then, of course, the Tide Spine Sculpture, making improvements around it. There will be improvements of, we've got another 50,000 bricks, I think, stored over in the public works yard. We'd use those bricks as a nice pad underneath the shelter there, some benches, and maybe even some shade cover with that as well.
Shade cover roof or trees or what?
Sir?
Trade, you said shade cover, you mean a roof structure or trees, shade trees, or what are you talking?
Roof structure, sail structures, have you seen the sail type structures that are used quite frequently over playgrounds and those type of things? So to create some shade in the area as well, to get some people out of that sunshine.
Yeah, they're very.
And then the contingency piece itself, that's a rather hefty contingency in the
Is that the
15
ball
plan
fields?
of the project.
What is that, ball fields?
But at this point in time, we're not at the point
Playground.
to say we don't need that, okay? Our numbers are pretty good, but they're still estimates. So we're saying our project's gonna be in that $900,000 range. But again, to give us some leeway there to, if the restroom skids come in more, or the stage cover comes in more, gives us some room to work with that as well.
Okay, I have a question. I'm reading from the background of your organization. I'm not sure what page that it is, but under an explanation of how the funding will directly promote tourism and economic development, I'm reading from the last sentence. This project will have a positive impact on the downtown businesses, hotels, and restaurants. And I'm wondering, ballpark figure, how many hotels and restaurants do we have downtown? Would you think 10, 12? Out of the 75 that are putting into this fund, is that about right, or
There's about 75 restaurants and hotels.
in the city?
That are currently paying A&P taxes. Your question was how many of those
Downtown.
restaurants are downtown?
Just curiosity, just to kind of get a perspective on funding.
Immediately, you have, just come to mind, you have Hopkins, Zapatas, Corona, you have,
Palm Point.
No, that's in Texas.
Okay.
you have
TLC,
Forge, which is, a food truck, you have Razor Dog, Fred's Wings and things come downtown. So you have all your food trucks that come downtown for events and things of that nature. So you could have 10 to 15 tops, food vendors in the downtown
So,
area.
yeah, okay, so approximately 9 to 10% of the general fund is from the
The total
downtown. Is
group
that
of
about right?
restaurants and hotels that pay in, yes.
Okay,
10 to 15% would have a direct benefit because they'd
Right.
be closest to the site.
sure.
The indirect benefit is the community, okay? And what people do when they gather anywhere. You heard the thing about Four States Fair. Well, they didn't all eat at the Four States Fairgrounds, I promise you. So they spread out across our community when we gather people in large capacities.
Mr. Ellington, do you have a comparison on the semi-permanent restrooms that you're proposing as opposed to a brick and mortar type restroom building?
Our brick and mortar restroom building for about a 25 by 50 foot slab, total cinder block walls was upward of 300,000. How
many, you told me the dimensions, how many stalls would that be? I'm trying to compare to these 20 stalls that you have here in the proposal.
20 stalls.
Wait, is that bigger than the one at the fairgrounds,
I'm not sure.
in the middle of the, I hadn't been in there.
What I did was I went to the fire marshal and I said, how many people can I take care of on a given site? Okay, because we've got limitations both health-wise and fire-wise. Okay, so we designed the site off and the permanent piece off of that, trying to get 3,000 people taken care of in that initial stall piece or the 20 stall group. And then over and above that would be taken care of with the portable toilet.
I have another question. I'm new, so this is a new project I'm not really fully aware of. I've heard about it, but how long has this been in the works? And do you have collaborators? Do you have partners? I know you're new with the city, so did you hand it this? I'm just kind of curious about how this all came about.
Back to the stage, please, ma'am. So when we had that piece about who our contributors were, first, we had our first actual donation to the project not long after I got here, and Eagle Distributing brought us a check to the city. We had that first initial payment to the city, so worked with him concerning how that signage might work. We're still not there yet, but again, we're still having those conversations with somebody who may need or want some advertising here. I hope I did point out, Brandon, I did point out that I put y'all's logo right there, didn't I? So I just want to make sure y'all saw that.
So I get Eagle Distributing was the first,
Eagle
how this
was
came
the
about?
first group in the door that said we'd be glad to work with you and actually brought money to the table.
Who else has come on board since that? Is that?
We've had discussions with Guarantee, with KTBS, so those two you see up there had some, or have about 15 other folks on our list even, and Mr. O'Neill is working some of those for us, and then I'm working some of those.
And when it comes to, I'm going to retouch on this, I'm still a little confused on this one part. When it comes to who gets to use that facility, there, and you said promoter, so could it be anybody that came to the city and said, hey, I want to put on this event downtown, I want this band to play? Is that what you're saying? It could be open to anyone, or how does that work?
Sure, and we'll have a use policy for the facility that we don't have currently. Okay, we've not had one, so, but in the door, somebody would have to meet the criteria that we have. Be in business 3 years, whatever the criteria may be. Okay?
Insurance to a certain extent.
And the fee
Be
structure.
a private operator or a nonprofit in good standing, those kind of things. And then be able to put on an event. They've got to show, will have to show us they put on events in other locations to qualify to put on an event.
What if they own, like, say, for instance, what if Whiskey Rivers wanted to put on something down there? Would that be acceptable?
But if who, I could,
Is it
It's
Whiskey?
a club out on the interstate.
Sure, if they want to pay the rate per day for
Okay.
that facility, that
Gotcha.
would be eligible.
Okay.
Or I guess if Cross Ties wanted to.
Or if Cross Ties wants, you wouldn't think
Yeah.
about that.
If Cross Ties wants to have an.
From my-
If Fat Jacks wanted to bring
Sure.
it.
For the last 12 years, I've served in our special operations unit with the city police department, which means I'm directly involved in all the parades, the festivals, the events, everything that goes on downtown. The biggest thing we're lacking downtown is a location for people to hold their events. We've got that stage out there right now, but it doesn't have a cover on it. Every time it rains, everybody's equipment gets wet. There's no bathrooms down there for anybody to go to. I remember I spoke with the parks director when they were getting ready to bring in their Little League World Series. They didn't have a place for the opening ceremonies. They can't have them at the baseball field. There's not enough room out there for people. The convention center's too small. We need a location where these events can be held, where you can put several thousand people, and they have bathrooms, and they have facilities, and they have a place that they can go and enjoy these events. A couple of events that have gotten to be big here recently, the Juneteenth Festival for one, is starting to grow down here with the number of vendors that they have. The Vibe Festival they had down on Front Street last year, I think they had 400 vendors. There's no room for these people to go to the bathroom. There's no stage or presence or somewhere for them to set up and be able to kind of enjoy this in more of a park-type atmosphere. And that is something that's definitely needed downtown. We need that atmosphere, that location where people can come down there and have these events and have areas big enough to be able to host them.
how are we going to park them? I mean, that would be a nice problem to have.
Sure, and parking will be an issue as we move
Yeah.
forward. Let me see, back to the site map, please, ma'am. Let's go to number 5 there, okay?
Beach Street.
I already had some conversation with the gentleman who owns this grass lot here right on the other side of Walnut Street, okay? You know where I'm talking about, this lot right here? facing that property, and it could be a combination use, a parking area and/or a people area, depending on how big the crowd might be as well. But again, if you'll remember, the city owns this lot right over here on the other side of City Hall, and right on the other side of City Hall, between Berman Farm and City Hall. We own that lot there as well as the lot right here on this corner is a city-owned lot as well. So as far as public parking closed, we have some, okay, for any event down there, and we're making plans for how that works for larger crowds as well. Let's go to that last slide, Lena, please. And so here's what you create. The ability for people to gather. When you provide a place for performance to happen, a place for activities to happen, whatever type of program you want to have there. And then again, I think this one was, shared with me maybe from Rail Fest in one of the years back. Again, a good example of a major event that can come to the site and have its regular support base already there. Any other questions? I'm here to answer them for you.
I did have a question
Okay?
about one of them, and because you showed this, it reminded me, you said the ties that bind sculpture improvements, is that the tie that binds?
That is the tie that binds sculpture.
Okay, what you gonna do there?
We're gonna do a couple of things. One, we're gonna improve the base itself underneath it, so it becomes another attraction for downtown as well, where people can go. This is a rather attractive sculpture, and it talks about the history of Texarkana, right here. So we'll put a historical plaque there as well, and then put some benches and landscape that area where, I'll meet you at the tie that binds is the discussion. And everybody will know where that will be, right in the middle of the site. And so the primary entrance, again, would be right up the street here. Entrance and exit. If we wanted to fence that whole site in, we could actually do that. If we wanted to fence it off, or promoter wanted to fence it off and charge admission to get into the area, it could be done right here in the middle of the street, right there.
You've mentioned a few times that this is a big ask, and I agree with that. And you also mentioned that it can be done in phases. What phases do you propose for completion of this?
Well, I need to, the first quick answer to that is I need to move on the stage first, okay? Because I've got to have the performance-based space to do something. That doesn't mean, I can still bring portable toilets in there, Brandon, but I need that stage, is that performance-based programming space to be developed first. And then we would move right on into restrooms to support that, site amenities, and the rest of those items.
And how long of a time period are you proposing that these phases be spread over?
If you funded me $700,000 today and I put my 200 with it, it'd still take me 18 to 24 months to complete this project, okay? So the answer is, it's gonna be a couple of year project, regardless of how we fund it. If we're gonna fund it over a couple of years, we can start that type of mechanism. So it can be phased in as well. It'll take us that long. We don't have a big capital improvement staff at the city, so we're gonna be piecemealing this out to the people that have time to put their portion of the project together.
And, well, I was emailed this, it wasn't this exact application, I think it was just the stage, maybe.
You got this application packet?
No, I did, but weeks ago, maybe? I was out, well, you asked me about it.
Yes, what I
And-
asked about was just the lease property, because I wanted to get a good explanation on
That's
this
true, but-
before we proceeded.
So, as we've stated before, The city, under the code, funds within the A&P Commission's control cannot be used, for the litany of items that we've gone over plenty of times. But it can only be used for the construction, reconstruction, repair, maintenance, improvement, equipping of public recreation facility, and you could say that this is a stage is a public recreation facility, in the city or the county where the city is located, if the city owns an interest in that facility. Now, this is, and I was told it was a 99-year lease. When it was started, I do not know. But I don't believe that the city owns an interest in that, to be able to put a pavilion or expand the stage. 99 years goes by and
They take
the
it
Union
back.
Pacific gets a free $500,000 stage. I think that's the legal concern I have with it. Now, bathrooms, I liken that to city parks.
Ball field.
Yeah, you can do that all day. It just has to be done on city property, and you pointed those locations out to us. But the stage, I'm not there with the lease, and
And we conveyed that message.
it's undisputed that it's a lease. We just don't know how much longer we have on it. So,
And I'm guessing it
yeah,
would be
oh yeah.
not easy to get the railroad to deed that over.
Well, there's a reason they do
Yeah.
leases like that.
Well, at this stage, do we need to table and research?
Would we be able to what?
Let's see, with that being said, do we need to table and research, or are we thinking we should move forward?
Well, we're prepared to move forward with our city funds going on the stage proper, okay?
It was gonna be my next
Because
one.
we do have that lease at this point in time and don't have the restrictions such as what you have, okay? So that's the way I've been able to separate it. Mr. Potter, is just kind of say, my thought process was, I'm putting a certain amount of dollars in there, I'll use that for the leased area, and I will use the other funds on the city-owned properties. Now, will I be able to keep every dollar separate? We'll do our best, okay? And most of these are individual segments in that budget, so the skid piece would be bid out. The slab for the other piece will be bid out. The banners will be bid out. Each piece is kind of stands alone separately, so we can put them in a category and keep them categorized properly.
And you did say there are estimates that's still to be had to really concrete the cost.
And that's the reason, again, Director Brewer, is I need that larger contingency, because I hadn't gotten to the final number on each one of these yet. Again, this is a capital project with estimated values.
If your first phase proposal is the stage, and I agree with Josh, that that's a leased area, and I don't think that we can spend money on that area, then can you go ahead with the first phase of the project with city money?
More than likely, yes, sir.
How far along is that process? I mean,
We've got probably a few more hours on our design guy's time, and he'll have the design for the stage cover finished for us. So we're getting close to get that out to a bid process.
I think that our city employees, street guys and people like that, are stretched about as far as they can go. And then I hate to pull it, I have things in my ward, I'm sorry, that I want done, and they're not being done. And, but yet you're gonna pull our city guys for this.
I'm gonna pull the park and recreation guys that are working on parks.
Well, the same thing to me.
Okay? Yes, there are a lot of things in our city we need more labor for. Yes, ma'am, I
Right.
agree with you.
So if the stage is phase one that the city's gonna take care of, what would you consider phase 2 and 3?
Two is the restrooms.
The restrooms would be next, at least the ones with the more permanent restrooms would be next. And then building to the maximum number would be last. Would do the other slab, site amenities and other things in part of phase 3, which would be using most of your money the further out kind of period it takes us to get this project done.
Be the city. Restrooms.
So we're already fixing to be a couple of months into this calendar year and your fiscal year as well. So if you wanted to allocate something out of this current year, you could do that. And then I can come back to you at the end of the year and tell you where we are in relationship to the stage project moving forward, and then ask for your consideration again. But what I need from you is that you like this project, that you think it's worthy of our community and will be worthy of some investment by you. I don't want to go put my $200,000 to $300,000 down there on that stage if I don't know I've got a partner in this agreement.
I do see the benefit in the future of having the stage down there because of a lot of the different events that's been communicated. There's no doubt that the city can benefit. There's no doubt. And that's my take on it.
Is AMP gonna recoup any of this money? Well,
Mr. Chairman, it could be as simple as me as
restaurants?
endorsing the project itself and giving us assurance that you will visit it again this fall. And I suggest outside of your normal process that you use for awarding money, that we just continue just talking about this project. Okay, and so you can see what we've accomplished at that point in time. But just a commitment from the commission that will at least get us back to the table, that will get me started on the stage part.
Well, it doesn't bother me as a restaurant owner that it's not right next to my business. I don't want them out there where I'm at. But when these people, if we're talking about bringing 10,000 people in, just like anything, if you have it at the fairgrounds, if you have it at Cross Ties, if you have it in the middle of the street in front of Hopkins or wherever it's going to be, those people come in, and we know that they come in and eat. I mean, they tell us all the time, I came in for so-and-so, we're here early. We start getting them at 3 o'clock on Saturday afternoon when there's something. So, the location of it really doesn't bother me, and I understand trying to promote the entertainment district, and the city has bought into that. But if we don't have some outside bathrooms, there are signs on these businesses, and I get that too.
Exactly.
That says paying customers only for the bathroom. I know the night that they had the parade down here, I was sitting in one of these restaurants, and it was a steady stream of little kids needing to go to the bathroom. And it's hard if you've ever been in one, you're gonna drop one of your little toddlers down in the blue water if you try to get in one of those, if there were any. I don't know, were there bathrooms down here during the parade?
Bathrooms are a big thing downtown
You know,
because of any event.
there's
you
nowhere
have,
to go.
there's
Yeah.
nowhere to go.
Yeah. That's the
I think
second.
last year we've had the Fall Festival twice. First year it drew around 8,000 people. This past year, we had actually people check in with the clickers trying to count the numbers, and the Commercial National Bank put it around 15,000 people that showed up for Fall Festival. There's nowhere for these people to go to the bathroom down here.
You're right.
Exactly. Now, we had a wedding inside a crosstie, so we could not open up for them.
Yep.
All right, and you have other things going on, like your Veronas, and you got customers in your restaurant, you don't want a bunch of people just streaming through. So if we're gonna continue to promote our downtown entertainment district, I think we have to take some action. We
think
gotta
so, too.
grow. So
That's the
there's
reason
no
he
way we're gonna grow
has
is
stage
invest.
number 1, restrooms number 2. Maybe we should flip it.
Is this a proposal that you've made to the city board as well?
They've seen the proposal, they understand what we're asking.
Well, have you thought about maybe just doing the bathroom since it's such a necessity and tabling the stage till a later date
Doing
to
the
help
city, right?
the events that you have currently, on the
Well,
schedule?
My answer to that is, I think we already have underwriters that are interested in helping us promote and get that stage put in place, and I want to take advantage of that and get that done as quickly as I possibly
I
can.
think if you put your city 200 in and you've already got a 60 in committed donations, that there will be others that comes on, and that at least gets you the cover. Plus, I think the rest of that would fall in line somewhere, since A&P can't spend money. But y'all know I'm in on the bathrooms. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
downtown
Yeah.
all the time.
At what phase are the traffic bollards considered into this?
They'd be in that 2 or 3.
Like I say, from
We'll
a
just
public
have to
safety
keep-
standpoint, that's something that needs to be considered pretty soon because of
Absolutely.
the issues with traffic and people, an increase in foot traffic that's already been seen down there.
Because they're designed to stop a car, at least slow it down, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
We couldn't make our own.
What?
Just curious.
Concrete?
Just a concrete post.
No, they're.
Take that
Somebody's standing
forklift,
there with a hammer
You're
and
gonna
an axe.
come
put a
pick
couple
them
of
up.
those big flower pots out in the middle of the street.
Currently, anytime we have anything downtown right now, we ask the street department to bring the current barricades. They're made out of 2x4s and plywood. To go back to what happened in the north several months ago, anybody can drive through those 2x4s and plywood, we could have some serious problems. I just think from,
Crazy people.
public safety perspective, those bollards definitely need to be considered as something to protect the people that are coming to these events downtown.
You said these can be lifted out. There would be a hole in the street?
Yeah.
And be
Well,
capped.
But there's a cover
Yeah.
once
I've-
they're
I've seen those, and
removed.
you just sit them and they kind of screw, like twist in.
Mhm.
Well, just talking about the risk assessment here, it'd be well worth the monies when we talk about saving lives, because we can't recop when something happens. We can't say we wish we would've, because things are happening, and so to be preventative, I think that's a good measure to have in place.
$55,000 is a small.
Yeah.
Now, that would include constructing the basis for the bollards, the 55,000.
Mhm.
Buying the bollards, drilling.
Getting them in place, yes, ma'am. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Deal.
I do think it's a project worth discussing.
Definitely.
I don't know if want to vote tonight or not. I think it's something that we should, if it's going to happen, that we should definitely work in conjunction with the city board and make sure that they're on board with it as well. And there's certainly nothing that prevents us from having a special meeting if we want to do that after the city board has acted or the city board has had their input. That's my thoughts. What does
Well,
anybody else have
that, and
comments?
I would like to see if we could take out what's not eligible from this,
Right.
Okay.
whatever that's,
Whatever that looks like.
yeah, whatever that
What we
looks
can
like.
do and what we cannot.
Yeah, I mean, when you look
What
at
we
it,
can
it's a-
support.
It's a total of $950,000, but then if you take out the donation, and you take out the general fund, and you take out
Yeah.
the stage that we can't do, and, you know, there may be a few other things. You know, any lighting that's on the least portion of the street, we wouldn't be able to do, or the landscaping on that portion, we wouldn't be able to do. So,
Can you do that, Mr. Ellington?
Yes, ma'am, I can break that out.
Can you break that out?
Make sure that y'all understood too, that in our budget process with the city, the mayor and board of directors have already approved a dollar amount for this project.
oh, okay.
They have?
Yes,
Right.
yes, ma'am.
Oh, I
We've done
didn't
this.
know that.
This general fund.
That 200?
Is it 200?
Yeah.
No, ma'am, it's actually more than that. So,
It's a secret.
Just like you have money in the bank, I do too.
Well, it's not public though. No, you meant AMP funds, I know.
I mean, I would only.
Yes, Brandon, we have already agreed, that we've already put it in the budget
Okay.
of the board.
This-
the
the
city
current
council.
budget?
Yeah, the current budget, yes. So,
What could you do with 4?
We could get well into the phase 2 work. We had half of that to get started with.
What does that mean that it's already approved?
The city's agreed to put 200 into the
Oh,
project,
okay, I got you.
More than whatever the amount is.
so they can pour their money
So
into
if we
the
would give
stage.
2 or 4?
Well,
What-
if the AMP put 4, and then,
Okay.
yeah, I'm off the stage, that's there too, they can pay for that.
Yeah.
But what, I'm asking Mr. Ellington, how far would 4 go this year?
It probably at least get us those restroom skids purchased and their site designated. And make that determination, get them in there to benefit the stage improvement.
The skids are 225 at 240, 245, 250,
We just don't want to forget those other site amenities and
275.
other
So it still
things
is.
that we know
Sure.
we're going to make this a nice performance-based area. We've got to make it first class.
Also in knowing that that's 18 months down the road before it's, and those are things that take less time to construct than the others. Would you agree?
I agree. I think the skid stalls are about a 4 to 6 month order on them anyway. So as I get a permanent pricing structure from them, we can get them started in that process.
Well, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
I would move at this point, based on what we know, and what is restricted and what is not restricted, to commit $400,000 towards this project, to be done towards the phases.
I'll second it.
Spread over.
Can I rework that motion? Just-
We're going to.
I mean, I want it to be specific on what,
Yeah,
you know, I hate to say
our
for,
parameters.
Yeah, I mean, you also mentioned phases, which,
which is
Yeah.
not really broken out, or would I be better, and I can't do this in the middle of a proposal?
we can just have discussion.
Okay, discussion. If we waited until that was broken out to do that, if if we could get Mr. Ellington to do that, I mean, we can have a special meeting. When's the next city council meeting? Monday?
February 7th.
About 2
February
weeks.
7th.
About 2
Okay,
weeks.
so it's 2 weeks.
I would like to see the numbers broken out like Sandy proposed earlier, you know, taking out what we can't fund
Right.
and what the city is going to fund so that we have a better idea of what the A and P funds would be committed to as opposed to this big number.
Blanket money.
Does that make sense?
That makes me
Yeah.
feel more comfortable.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's good.
all right.
That way we know exactly
So no
Right.
motion at
Where the
this time.
400,000 is
what we're
going.
doing.
I was
Yeah.
just gonna say to amend the budget.
Yeah. But that's the number I'm,
Does that sound like a good
a start.
proposal to everyone, like a good start?
Could you, just to be clear with all the talking, can you clarify what you just said, so that we're all on the
So
same page?
my suggestion would be that we wait on any motions until Mr. Ellington has had a chance, as Sandy proposed, to rework his estimates and to take out the portion in the estimate that we can't pay for example,
And
money that's
prioritize.
improvements that are on the leased areas, and to take out the portions that the city has already committed funds to, and also let him prioritize, hey, this is what I really want to do in phase one, hey, this is phase two, hey, maybe the light pole banners can wait, that kind of thing.
Could we also say that, I like your number of 400,000, that we would agree that that would be a good number that we could consider putting out there for other investors might know how much of a commitment we're willing to go into this situation?
I hate putting a dollar amount on it before we see numbers. That's just.
I think it will
I
help.
mean, this just open discussion.
Okay.
I mean, that was
I think
kind
it
of
will
a number.
definitely help encourage other people, other businesses and places that might want to get involved in this, especially when they see what's going to happen with downtown.
I think that definitely, I mean, I didn't know until tonight that the city had already budgeted money for this project. So I think I don't know if that was public knowledge or not, but I think that's a huge step to let people know that that's done. I think from what I'm hearing from everyone, it's positive feedback from this commission so far, as to the project.
I know we've had conversations in the past, but this commission want to be a part of something big, and I think this is an opportunity to do that, and not just have all the smaller things that we've talked about in the past. So I think it'd be great for us to be considered to be on the front end of this situation, and what we're trying to do to promote the whole city. I've also had conversations with other people that are interested in purchasing property downtown, and I think this would go a long way in showing them that we're committed to really investing in where we're going with downtown.
I think promoting downtown promotes the entire city and brings stuff in. It's just a unique little place that, you know, the other investors, people buying up property downtown have shown that, and I mean, it's about to blow up.
I agree, and through our conversation, it seemed like the only barrier we've come across thus far is the legal ramifications for A&P, what's said in our legal, what we can and what we can't do. So I think we do need to, omit what we need to omit moving forward.
So do we need to try to meet before the city council meeting on the 7th?
I don't know that it needs to have anything to do with the city board meeting,
Okay.
because they've already
They've already
budgeted
committed that.
those funds.
Then call a meeting, ask Mr. Ellington when he can get that together.
Chairman Clyburn, I don't know if this will help or not, but if we can get an updated budget from Mr. Ellington, as soon as I receive that, I can go ahead and send that to Josh. That way we can go ahead and get his approval, that these things are indeed eligible for A&P funding, and then I can get that to you all. You have the authority as the chairman to call a meeting on your own, or with 3 commissioners can call a special called meeting.
In 2 hours?
We need 48-hour notice.
48, okay.
But within 48 hours, I got the bylaws, make sure, but I believe it's 48 hours you can
Yes, it is.
schedule a special call meeting. You have to give notice not less than 3 days before a special call meeting.
Okay, is there any other discussion from the commission?
Thank you, Mr. Ellington, for your,
Is
I
there
know
any,
you've put a lot in.
Thank you, Jay.
Is there anybody here from the public who wanted to speak on this? I'll give you a chance if you want to.
Have that Talamina. What about them?
Well, if they want to speak on this,
Is it okay?
Okay.
Everybody okay with it?
just state your name for us. And
Okay, first of all, my name is Jamie Reynolds. I own a business downtown as well, Royal Yard Saloon. There's a lot of good points brought out tonight that I probably never even thought of. I don't even know if I can read my chicken scratch right. And first of all, I did like Miss Minor's way of thinking when she said, well, there's a lot of other things that the city employees need to be doing besides cleaning up after a big party downtown. I clean up the streets nightly. I know mine cleans up the streets. I'm sure there's several others that we do it. So I guess what I basically did agree on, the bollard permanent deals, but then backtrack and think, those are permanent holes. Where are internet lines? Where are the water lines? So that needs to be estimated into, what could happen. If you bust this line, is he out of business? Is she out of work? She out of work? Are we all out of work? Okay, let's see what else. I think there's a lot of businesses downtown that people I guess they don't get out and acknowledge, like there was, in the slideshow, one location that was shown. I love downtown. I'm from downtown. I came down here to watch it grow. I've been in this business longer than anybody's been in the service industry down here. I'd like to think we could all learn by each other and grow together, but I'm here tonight because I wanted to know what was going on, what the future goals were, where all the money was going, and should it all go downtown. I've been to several places, like Miss Barbara said, that something else should have been fixed here, something should have been fixed here, instead of building a stage. 100% bathrooms, yes. Because I am down here when parades happen. I can't let kids come in my bar to use the restroom. So then the adults are mad at me and they're not coming to support me or my employees. Bathrooms, yes. Number one, yes. I would say stage, probably number two. Let's think twice and research the permanent bollards, though, because we don't know what's under there. We're all still learning as new businesses are steadily coming. We're learning what was down there. I think that's it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank y'all for letting me participate tonight.
First of all, thank you for your time. I'm not short on words. You may have to just cut in and say, hey, look, Officer Munn knows me. I've been doing this. This is the Talamina rally, and I hope there was enough stuff I left for y'all to look over. It's a 3-day event.
Hang on, we're not there yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
This is still coming.
Let me back up.
Bless your heart.
we might be there if there's nobody else who wants to talk on the,
Okay, I'm sorry.
on the
I think you raised your
state
hand.
project.
Did you raise your hand to speak?
About the city
project. Yeah. Oh, I thought.
Sit down.
I actually wasn't planning on speaking, and I'm not sure if my voice matters much or not, but I'm one of the smaller struggling restaurants in town that pays into this AP and A&P
Would you state your
fund.
name for us? I'm sorry.
Trevor Aslan. And I'm just concerned about the way that the money is being spent. Like I said, I'm a small restaurant. I don't know how you bigger folks feel about it, who are more established and been here a long time. It's Mio Miles Bayou Cafe. It's over on Jefferson Avenue.
County,
But
on Jefferson.
on Jefferson, yes.
Been there many times.
I just want to make sure that y'all understand that us smaller, struggling restaurant owners have to make decisions every month. Whether to cut my pay, which is less than minimum wage mostly. I'm struggling, trying to make it. Prices of food and everything are going up, but I still have to pay into this A&P fund. So I want to make sure that the money is being spent wisely. Sounds like a great project, by the way, but where's the entrepreneurial spirit? Can't somebody come in here and do this without doing it on our backs is my concern. I don't know if y'all have looked at other ways to fund it, but. Okay. If it's a good project and you're gonna bring lots of venues here and they're gonna be paying money to use it, why can't you find an entrepreneur to come in and spend the money to do what you're asking us to do? Just food for thought. All right, thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Any other comments from the consent agenda? All right, we'll go on to our next item on the agenda, which is the Talamina Rally. So,
Yes, sir.
the first thing that you have to do, because this is a request that is outside of our normal period, which was in October.
Right.
All right, of our yearly, our disbursement. So you have to explain to us why this is a special request and why it was not made in October.
I did not know about it. I did not learn about the A&P till January of this year.
But you've been having your event since,
I started in 2002, and then in 2012, we started donating everything to St. Jude. It's a 3-day event, and of the 350 to 400 people that attend, there ain't 20 people.
I got to stop you real quick, because we have to vote on whether or not to hear your proposal.
Okay.
Based on the reason that you gave for not presenting it in October.
Okay.
Okay? So, you know, are there any questions for him about why he didn't come in October?
Then he go sit down.
No, not yet.
Okay.
No, you're good. I'm good with it.
Okay, is there a motion?
Make a motion?
Do we hear his
We
proposal?
hear his proposal.
Okay.
Since I already started,
Yes.
I apologize.
Second the motion.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Taronda?
Cogburn,
Yes.
Varner,
Yes.
Brewer. Brewer,
To hear his,
Minor,
yes.
Mills.
Here, yes.
Okay. Now,
Now I can start?
Now
Okay.
you're back.
little
Okay.
procedural issue.
That's fine, that's fine. I started in 2002, and in 2012, we started giving all these funds to St. Jude. And in the last 3 or 4 years, we've been at the Arkansas Convention Center, and the last 3 or 4 years, it's sold out now, completely sold out, and we moved to the Best Western, and we got 25 rooms left there. So these people know what we're trying to do is raise funds for these kids. And like I said, there's only probably maybe 20 people that show up from Texarkana to this event. I was a director of the local Hardy chapter here in Texarkana, and I had to travel and do schooling to learn the procedures. I went to Kansas, I went to Louisiana, Arkansas, Texas, and I met all these people. And all these people come to this rally now. So they book their rooms and they spend their money here. So this is the reason I come, just a little bit of help. Just the food that I pay for probably is going to run at least 10 to 15,000. And I will answer any questions. If you look at that letter from St. Jude, during COVID, we raised almost 70,000. And they was going to shut us down. I talked to the mayor, and I said, I can go to Texas. He said, we haven't had this talk. So we stayed there, and that's when we made that 70,000.
Do you have any financials for your organization other than this?
The screenshot on there? Yeah, I do. The only thing I have is a bank account. It's me and my wife that runs this. And we have people that come in and help us do this. I mean, as far as food and stuff, I try to get the cheapest food I can get. I don't want to get a bologna sandwich to feed these people. We're going to have Cracker Barrel one night. We're going to have Roadhouse one night. and they are giving me this meal for $10 a person.
What,
Okay.
yeah,
And, well, I mean, my point on that is, you just told us 2 Texas restaurants you're gonna use the money for to purchase food.
And you know why? Because there wasn't nobody in Arkansas would work with me. I mean, you're talking 20, I mean, I even asked Melissa at the convention center. You're talking $25 a plate. Where, and I do this rally for those kids. You know, I want these kids to have a life. So I tried to raise enough money to give to them. But if you stop and think, other than El Chico's on Arkansas side right there, I mean, there wasn't a whole lot to choose from.
So you marked the box on your application that you were a nonprofit.
You bet.
As a nonprofit, I mean, you're registered with the state of,
As far as being nonprofit, me personally, I'm not. St. Jude's lets me use their numbers
okay,
on everything I do, for the food, everything.
okay.
We can only use it on certain things.
yeah, we're limited, this commission is limited to what we can use taxpayer funds on.
Okay.
And so the reason our application and requirements have increased over the past few years is because we need all the information we can get to
Yeah.
determine, you know, what we're using this money on.
Right.
So like financial statements and a breakdown of what you want this $10,000 for.
Right.
I mean, is $10,000 going to fund the whole event?
No,
Okay, well, we need to know.
but
Line item.
$10,000 would make a big chunk out of it.
Oh, I'm sure.
You
But
know.
we need to know exactly what this $10,000 is going to.
My question is, if we're booking 2 to 3 hotels, wouldn't that almost cover it?
Well, and that's, we
I mean-
want that to happen, but we got to know
Right.
what you want, you know, whether it's advertising, food,
Mr.
you know,
Jones,
special
what I'm
speaker.
trying to clarify with this is that money that you get from us has to be spent a specific way. We're limited as to what we can give you, what it's for.
Okay.
So that's why he's asking for
You
the
have to
numbers
turn
and
in
stuff.
receipts. It's,
Yes.
you pay for it, and then you have to turn in those qualified receipts to Tyranda to ask for reimbursement.
Okay.
Like, it
This-
can't just be for,
Yes. This commission is bound by certain things they can and can't get money for. That's why we're
Okay.
trying to get you to tell us exactly what it's for so that we can say yes or no.
Right, I understand. And you know, it's just like, with us being in Arkansas, I try to get my guys, and you realize they're gonna go get beer and alcohol. So I want them to go to Arkansas. So, I mean, there's another case.
We want to help you. We just got to know exactly how we can help.
Okay, so what do I need to do?
Well, we need financials for your, other than,
and a proposed budget on what you
Proposed
think
budget.
you're gonna spend money on. Is, if it's $10,000 in T-shirts, if it's,
No, it's only 5 for them.
you know, if you're gonna buy advertising in
Right.
a magazine somewhere
Right.
to promote that event, or you're gonna pay a social media influencer to do and get that out, if it's
Right.
flyers, if it's,
And it's in the application. It says documents and other information to be provided.
Okay,
So
fair enough.
if you provide that to us, we have a better idea and can point to exactly what we can and can't spend money on. It may be everything, but we just need to know that. And we've held people to that standard before, and
yes.
we just need that information.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Mr. Jones.
I will say,
Jones,
question.
hold on just a second before you walk
To
off.
be clear, this would be on the Arkansas side, right?
Yeah, and I wouldn't have to move it to Texas. And that's an open discussion, I'm gonna be honest with you, because they're working on me to move there.
We have another meeting in April.
Huh?
We have another meeting in April.
Mr. Munn, I'll be too busy. When my rally is over with in May, it starts back in June for the next year. That's when I started.
What I'm asking is if you could get us the information with the financials to break down how you want to do that before April, then maybe we could look at this in April.
You know, it's no biggie. You know, I've been doing this since 2002. it was just brought to my attention to come here, maybe I could get some help. I'm not up here to beg, I'm not up here to plead, because I want to still do this for the kids regardless.
And I think what you're doing is a very honorable thing.
I got the guy that runs the motorcycle Arkansas tourism program called me, and he's going to be at my rally, and he's going to be filming. Now, if that's not showing tourism and what we're doing in Arkansas, in Texarkana, I don't know what is.
I agree with you that is, but we have to be able to see that, and we have to hold everybody that comes before the commission to that same standard.
Right. I
You
understand.
know, and it's just not here right now. I mean, I'd be willing to hear it if you can get it when we have this next special meeting.
The city of Texarkana has to get us a budget. He's gonna email that to us, and then we can call a special meeting. We can do the same thing with you.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, I'm not up here begging. I just thought
You know that.
with me getting all these hotels for the last 4 or 5 years, that ought to
We
meant
would like to
something.
help you. I'd like to revisit this, if you could give us those financials. I'd love to see the way, I mean, I'm enjoying looking at where these numbers are going that you gave us back from St. Jude. You started out at 26,000 and you went up to 75,000.
2,500 was the first year.
That's what I'm saying, and you're probably gonna continue to grow, especially with the numbers of bikes that you.
And the people come in, they're not from here, and you realize, you know that as well as I do.
Yes, sir.
There's nobody here gonna support anything with a motorcycle.
Yep.
So all these people coming out of town, they're spending money.
That's what I'm saying, we wanna help you, just help us help you. And
I
that's-
mean, the only financial I got, I don't keep a book of all this. I mean, people pay to come to the rally, and when I go to the restaurants, I give my debit card and they pay for it. What money's left over, I mail a check to St. Jude.
Could you just break down what you spend on like t-shirts, food,
I
advertising?
mean, basically, that's on that screenshot, it come out of the bank.
Do you have bank statements where that?
I do.
Okay, that,
I do.
Then we gotta know what.
Do I?
is it your debit card or is it an organization's debit?
It's a organization's, I'm sorry. But it's got my name on it, but it's got Talamina Rally. But St. Jude, that's when you look at that letter, I send the check, they send it back, everybody knows where the money's at. So, let me think about it and I'll come back.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the collections report for hotels and restaurants. I know Josh had me sign Josh, what was it?
Certificate.
Certificate of indebtedness. Yeah,
Seriously.
I signed one of those today, yes. So that
May we inquire?
Shipley's Donuts.
Delinquent since 2019?
Since they opened, yes, they haven't remitted, I don't think, since they've opened.
Any movement on any of the others?
I did not get the most recent delinquencies, I don't think, until the agenda.
Yeah, Kristen, let's see.
Okay.
Well, you have them now.
Yes, I've got them now. And we got people, we get down and then we
Yeah, we went from
stop
2
for a
pages to
month.
4.
And then you've got people that are behind a month, behind 2 months.
And we are following up on those as well to help you some with
Yeah,
getting all
and-
those caught up.
Correct, and the catching up with the, I guess, long haul delinquent taxpayers is where we are, I'm not saying actively trying to collect. We give those business owners who are having a hard time, like the gentleman that was up here, we give them some time to catch up through letters from the city. Tyronda
Yeah, we
has
call
been
them,
doing that.
follow up with them, send them emails.
Make sure, if they need payment arrangements, we do that. I am also, on the collection front, I still have to send, Mr. Ellington a revised, collection ordinance. It has changed since the last time I proposed that to the board. So I'm finalizing that and hope to have that to him this week. hopefully might get that passed within the next 2 city board meetings, but
Well, I'm curious, as on some of these, it doesn't make sense that they would be current on everything, you know, for the last 9 or 10 months, but then there's 1 month, and I'm thinking one of those months is like May of 2020, and, you know, we didn't get to open back up until the end of May, or right at the end of May. They shut us down March 23rd, I believe.
yeah.
And we didn't get to open back up till, you know, so there were no April
Yeah,
taxes collected because they wouldn't let us. And then we opened back up on a reduced 25% capacity in late May. So they may not even owe that.
Correct.
If they were not open, but I'd like to see them get off of here if it's just a matter of
And-
following a zero report.
Yeah,
and I know a few of them, that's
I
exactly
do
what
too.
happened.
Yes, and I've called some of those, and that particular one, I spoke to him myself. We had a conversation about that month. And he was supposed to follow up and send me a zero report. And that is all I am waiting on with some of them. And if they don't tell me, I don't always know that information, but a lot of them, whether they're open or not, they'll be sure to send in those zero reports, so I always know their current status.
And that's just, all they gotta do is fill out their 1-page report
And
and
send
submit
it to
it.
us, And
It can't be much. We did, I mean,
No.
we couldn't collect anything.
And it's so helpful when they submit those zero reports, because it helps me to know exactly what is going on with their business.
And I'll tell you, the proposed collection ordinance that tracks the Department of Finance Administration in Little Rock, how they collect taxes, it's mainly enforcement. It gives the commission greater access to information and greater collection, remedies, big time.
It's come a long way.
Okay, anything else on that front? If not, is there any other business? Oh, yeah.
Can I say something? May I? Not can I, know I can.
Do you think I can stop it?
May I? This brought to mind the vacant commissioner position.
Yes.
We don't have any applications that we haven't already ruled on as a group, do we?
No, ma'am.
Is it a restaurant owner or just any?
It is from the
This one
tourism-related
actually,
business, restaurant, hotel, or,
this one actually has to be the owner or manager of a restaurant or hotel.
okay.
Because you have to have 2 board members, you can have 1 at large, and you can have 4 in the tourism, with at least 3 of those being hotel, motel, and restaurant owners.
So less is entertainment.
Yes, so he's in the
I
tourism.
was distracted.
So, yeah.
It has
So
to be
this has to be
restaurant
a
owner or
hotel
manager.
It has
For food
Yes.
either an owner or a manager.
Correct.
of a restaurant or hotel
Yes,
in good standing on the Arkansas side.
correct.
Who lives in Miller County.
Yes.
Yes. Got that? Got it, Mr. Newspaper?
All right, anything else? If not,
I move to adjourn this meeting.
I second.
all right, all in favor? Aye.
Need to call a roll on this.
Okay, do we need